Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your quick break there and are ready for a real deep dive into commercial marketplace. We have a team of experts here today to spend the next hour with you. And as previous sessions, this is our last Q&A of the day. So please get your questions coming in through the platform, and we can have time at the end to answer as many of those as we possibly can. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over now to Phil, who's going to introduce the rest of the team. Hi, Phil.
Hi, Angela. Thank you for the handover. Welcome to today's session, and thank you for joining, everybody. I'm Philip Hatch. I'm a Partner Development Manager at Microsoft, and I also lead a steering committee for the commercial marketplace here in the UK. Co-selling with Microsoft is evolving, and we're seeing a huge trend in business buyers wanting to self-serve and transact online rather than through a sales rep. And because of this trend, we're expecting to see B2B e-commerce continue to grow rapidly over the next few years. And the enabler to this growth opportunity is through the commercial marketplace. The commercial marketplace, put really simply, is a marketplace for you to sell your software solutions and services online, and a place for customers to buy these offerings online in a frictionless way. Next slide, please. Next. Thank you. The commercial marketplace is the key to really being able to co-sell at scale with Microsoft. And today you'll leave this session with a deeper understanding of how the commercial marketplace empowers you to co-sell, the business capabilities and benefits available to you in Partner Center, and how to manage leads, co-sell opportunities, and deal registrations. We'll also make sure you have clarity on key next steps. And we have 10 minutes of Q&A scheduled for the end of the call, so please feel free to submit your questions. We have three presenters who have kindly agreed to join us today. We have Kate Gibbons, who is the Co-Sell Program Marketing Lead. We have Dan Rippey, who is the OCP Integration Engineering Lead. And we have Rob Reardon, who is the Co-Sell Program Product Planning Lead. So without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Kate, and we can start the presentation.
Thank you, Phil. My name is Kate Gibbons, and I'm the Co-Sell Product Marketing Manager here at Worldwide Corp. And I apologize today that I'm not on video. My connection is a little bit slow, and I get cut off. So this is actually better for your education. And with that, let's take it away. If you could go to the next slide, please. So let's talk about co-sell. So co-sell is your path to be discovered, deliver your expertise, and expand your customer footprint. We have evolved our definition of co-sell in this new fiscal, and it is no longer just for our seller channel, but it's for our direct customer channel, our seller channel as it was, as well as our partner channel. And it's basically any collaborative engagement that includes sharing deals, customer insights, and hopefully winning. Next, please. To date, we have there has been more than $15 billion in annual contract value for our partners. We've seen a 51% growth in IP co-sell wins. So we will talk a little bit more about IP there, but something to definitely understand and perk your ears up if that's applicable to your business. Then something that's very exciting as we've moved into Partner Center, we are actually seeing a 3.5 times faster deal velocity via Partner Center than our tool Partner Sales Connect. And then within our direct web stores, we're seeing more than 4 million monthly active users coming to find, try, or buy your solutions. Next. So every partner can co-sell with Microsoft now. It is not limited to just the big guys, if you will. And at its core, we have, you can do it along business applications, apps and infra, data and AI, so think about that as Azure, modern work and security, so think about that as Teams. And just to level set, when we talk about this, we think about this as Microsoft solutions. So again, as I just listed, your services co-sell offers, so consulting services and things like that, IP, so applications, and then you can also sell another partner solution. Next, please. As I alluded, there were 3 channels to co-sell. To give you a little bit more prescriptive information, we have our direct channel. So think about that as accessing your solutions directly through Azure Marketplace, AppSource, or our solution provider, which Rob may talk about a little bit next. And you can access, again, those 4 million monthly active users and 140 geographies. Then we have our powerful partner-to-partner ecosystem. So as you guys know, we have the world's most powerful and large rich partner-to-partner ecosystem, and we're really trying to empower the ability for you guys to share back and forth and to have mutual success together. Then we have our seller engaged channel, and this is where we specifically are talking about deals where our Microsoft seller can come in with you guys and hopefully close in those customer accounts. Next. So let's talk about the requirements as we go into this fiscal. So there are some different requirements, but some are the same. So I'm going to go through this, but feel free to ask questions. We're happy to drive any clarity. So this is a little bit different way to think about it than you may have seen the requirements before, but we really wanted to break it down by channel so that as you guys are building out your sales strategy, you can understand what requirements you need to meet when you're publishing your solutions in order to reach the channels you're trying to engage with. So for the direct channel, you need to meet the commercial marketplace publishing requirements. There is a link in this deck, so you can access that, as well as build your business profile and partner center. If you're building a business applications offer, you also need to be enrolled in the standard tier of the ISV Connect program. Then, as you want to engage with other partners or the Microsoft Seller channel, there are additional requirements. One, you need to have a sales contact listed in each geography that you want to sell. Then you need to publish a bill of materials, and this is a little bit different than last year, so I'm going to take some time here. You do a solution one-pager. Think about this as sort of the customer one-pager that you may have done in the past, or a solution deck, your landing page, or a URL. Then also, if you are a services partner, we do require that you have a gold competency in that area. I'm going to pause there because that was a lot. Any questions, Paula? Okay. And then as we want to, if you want to go and to qualify into incentive eligible offers, so incentive eligible offers are incentivized to our Microsoft sales team for Azure IP. So sometimes this is referred to as IP co-sell. You do need to have a transactable offer in the commercial marketplace with trailing 12 months with $100,000 revenue threshold, or trailing 12-month ACR. Then you also need to make sure that it passes the technical validation process and has more than 50% repeatable code. Meeting that technical validation process happens through the publishing experience, so it's not necessarily an additional requirement, but just something that you go through and is required. Then if you are if your offer is business applications, you do need to be enrolled in the premium tier of the program. Just one question that has been asked before that I will preemptively suggest here and give an answer to is if you are in the ISV Connect program at the standard tier, you have a 10% incentive on your solution for the Microsoft seller. And if you're in the premium tier, it's 20%. Next, please. So something that we really, and then if you could hit it again at the build. Something that we really want to make sure we're making clear are all the benefits around transactable offers in the commercial marketplace. So one that is the entry point into that incentive eligibility for Azure IP co-sell. But then again, there are additional benefits. One, you can leverage Microsoft's procurement relationships and consumption commitments. So it's easier for you to transact. You have reduced fees. It is obviously incentive eligible to our Microsoft seller, but you are also, with that transactable offer, it's actually added onto the Microsoft price list. So there are some compelling reasons to consider transactable offers in the commercial marketplace for your organization. Next. And last but not least, let's ground in a little bit of co-sell at its core. So co-sell at its core, when we really start talking about how to execute this through our platform, we talk about it in a couple of different ways. So we have the commercial marketplace, which Dan will talk about in more detail coming up, but that empowers simplified publishing, streamlined offer selling, and integrated referral management. So think about this as you publish one offer and it gets syndicated out to those channels we just discussed if you meet the criteria. And then you can go ahead and just execute in the bottom right corner there, your referral sharing in Partner Center. So when we talk about it, we're talking about it in sort of these ways. So co-selling, commercial marketplace, and then the different types of offers that you can sell back and forth. And with that, Dan, I will hand it over to you.
Hey, thanks, Kate. Paul, I'll give you a second to transition video, and while we're doing that, I'll give everybody a quick intro. Thanks for being on the call, everybody. I know it's getting late afternoon in the UK and Western Europe, so really appreciate you hanging on. I also very much appreciate the fact that everybody has probably been glued to their chair for 8 to 10 hours, at least for the last 4 months, in whatever home or remote office you occupy. So these become long days of a lot of kind of a fire hose of things Microsoft is throwing at you. But I know that the allocation of your time and your company's resources is incredibly valuable. So I really just can't thank you enough for taking the time to be with us and hanging on while we introduce you to some of the things that we're rolling out in Microsoft's next fiscal year 21. I'm going to go through today a couple of things, and Rob and I are going to keep it fairly dynamic. We're going to go through some live demos for you, so you'll be able to see screen by screen how to do some things. Some of this may look familiar to some of you already, and some of this may look new. If either way, we're going to have an open Q&A that Paula is going to help us moderate. So I would love feedback from the audience on how things are going, if you've already had an opportunity to work in some of these areas of our tooling. And if you haven't, I'd love, we're excited to introduce and unveil some of this to you for the first time, and want to make sure you land comfortably in the calls to action that Microsoft is putting in front of you as to take advantage of what's coming. So with that, next slide. The journey into Partner Center has been a multi-year journey for most of our existing install base of partners. And what that really means, to distill it down to its core, is that we get a lot of feedback from partners that says, look, Microsoft has had 2 decades of creating this ecosystem. The ecosystem is big and complex and does and enables a lot of things. And so the feedback we consistently get is, can you just streamline all of this into a single application where a company can manage the totality of its business relationship with Microsoft? And that's a pretty hard thing to do. It's a pretty hard thing to do because of the diversity of partners that we have. It's a hard thing to do because of the kind of the legacy baggage that we carry of the things that we've created. But it was time 3 years ago for Microsoft to really listen to that feedback and take stride at what is, for an organization that is just creating its charter with Microsoft, what is the kind of the novel of documentation applications that it needs to read and become proficient in to be able to build a business relationship with us. And so what we've done, and what we started 3 years ago, is consolidating all of that into this thing we call Partner Center, which is the aggregation of a lot of different tools that you've become familiar and competent with over the years. One is the basic membership system that brings you in as a new partner and ensures you have the ability to renew your membership with us every year, the ability to earn things like competencies and advanced specializations, the ability to transact with the benefits that you get extended through the conduit of your partnership. That is all now entirely in Partner Center. So most of that work is done. The benefit provisioning systems and the way you get things like technical benefits and internal use right benefits and support benefits, that is also now consolidated in Partner Center. And then the way you break your performance down in your relationship with Microsoft and analyze the capabilities of each of your geos in the collaborative business that you are driving into Microsoft and Microsoft is driving back into you. We have also consolidated that now in a Partner Center. So actually the good news is we're pretty close to the finish line here. There's a little bit of work required for partners that have been with us for a while. For newer partners that are on the call, some of these older systems you probably haven't even heard of and you may not even use, and that's fine. There's no need for you to take any action here. We will give you a quick demonstration of what capabilities are already available for you, just so you feel comfortable with the things that you're being asked to use and do, and the opportunities that those will create and bridges those will create in your relationship with Microsoft. But for existing partners, we will go through specifically calls to action on what is your transition experience like as we move everything into Partner Center. And our core goal is that we do that as smoothly as possible, so that you know what's coming. If you are comfortable in an area of the business that is transitioning and evolving, you understand what that transition and evolution look like. You have an opportunity to orchestrate across your global teams how and when you want to do that successfully, and that you have everybody, kind of tactically set up in this new ecosystem to be able to operate with confidence and competence in the areas that we drive in the business. So with that, I'll proceed one slide forward. And so I'm going to turn it over. We're going to talk actually in reverse order today. So we're going to focus mostly on the process of engagement sharing. And so as you're getting opportunities from your customers across our digital engines, and you're getting opportunities from Microsoft sales teams to collaboratively sell and increase your book of business with Microsoft, we're going to show you first where that experience is today, and for partners that are in transition, how to get there. And then we're actually going to back up and we're going to talk about the publishing process and many of the things that Kate touched on in her presentation, and show you exactly how to do that, exactly how to get your offers to a position of co-sellability with Microsoft. And if you have existing solutions and offers that you've been co-selling with Microsoft for a long time, I'll show you very specifically how to get those things transitioned in a partner center and how to centralize your management of all of that book of business. So with that, I'll turn it over to Rob. Rob, go ahead.
Yeah, hey team, and I'll just talk through this slide briefly, and then I'll get into a live demo. So Rob Reardon, I look after our co-sell experience both for our partners within Partner Center, as well as for our sales team within our own MSX system, which is essentially our CRM system of choice. And before I get into the live demo, where I'll primarily talk about kind of three things: how to first get access to Partner Center to start co-selling, then how to co-sell once you get there, and some of the things that are different from Partner Sales Connect for those of you who are familiar with PSC, and three, how to get support, how to get help when you need it within the context of Partner Center. And it's important to note that we're really not lifting and shifting what we have in Partner Sales Connect over to Partner Center. There's a couple key things that we're changing to improve your co-selling experience. And really, if you think about the key vision statement, is around creating these meaningful connections between, as virtual sales teams working together on deals, creating meaningful connections between your sales sources, and ideally meeting them in their own context where they already exist, and our sales team within MSX. And so if I start on this slide, kind of the first promise that we're making, actually, I focus on number 3 there, which is receiving all referrals in one place. Some of you may have been receiving, there's really 3 different ways to receive pipeline from Microsoft, customer pipeline, which of course is of key value to your business. One being the direct marketplace, so Azure Marketplace and AppSource. And as Dan talks through the commercial marketplace experience and how to publish, of course, those offers will be posted on the public web, as well as available for our internal sales teams. Today, if you receive referrals or leads from those offers, you handle those separately today. Those are going to also be coming into Partner Center in the near future. What we've done so far is combining, for those of you on the solution provider search, or those of you who have been around for a long time, a Pinpoint, and some of our marketing qualified or sales qualified leads, those already have been going through Partner Center for the last couple of years. We've now folded in the co-sell opportunities, which are more kind of the mid-market up to the enterprise deals, are now available in Partner Center. So think about Partner Center as Dan talked through all of those different scenarios of how to manage your business with Microsoft. Not only is it only that, but every type of pipeline that you receive from Microsoft is coming into Partner Center. And number 2 on this list, that direct Microsoft seller connection, as I talk about those meaningful connections between sales teams, you'll see some of the changes where we've made to enhance your experience by providing you some more power in terms of what kind of help do you need from Microsoft, and giving us the right signals so that we can actually give you the right resource at the right time. And I'll talk at more length when we get into the actual system. And then the top one and the bottom one really are around when I talk about doing business within the context of your own system. Sales resources using their own CRM system, whether it's Salesforce or Dynamics or SAP, what have you, using some connectors we have off the shelf available in AppSource today, or the REST APIs that we have on docs.microsoft.com. And all the links to those more technical options will be shared offline. I'll walk through the UX experience, but just keep in mind at any point in the UX, any data point that you see there is also available through those APIs or those connectors. If you want to, if you really share deals at scale, we expect a small subset of partners that share, say more than a couple hundred deals a year to use that option. As well as the last one on the list here, which is customer matching. That's actually one of the first things that I'll show you, but it really is around using an industry standard like Dun & Bradstreet to route these deals to the right seller as quick as possible by using the right metadata. So with that, I'll move over to a live demo of the Partner Center experience. And like I said, I'll start with the first piece, which is essentially how to receive access within Partner Center. So I'm logged in here in Partner Center in our pre-production environment, and hopefully you already have access to Partner Center. If you don't, reach out to a global admin or an account admin within your organization. And really the first step to start having access to, maybe you see this referrals tab in Partner Center, but you don't have the new deal button. For those of you that want to follow along and log in now, typically that would be because either A, the global admin or account admin within your organization, and if you are yourselves global or account admins, using this gear icon on the top right, which hopefully you're already familiar with, user management is the place where you can provide the right access for your users to start using the referrals module, right? This whole section on referrals here, where we have co-sell opportunities and leads for you. Very simple, single option in terms of what kind of permission you require to access that tab. It's just this referrals admin section. Give any resource that you want to work within referrals that kind of access. So then I'll go back. And the other key thing is that you may not see the new deal button yet because your account as an organization has not yet been enabled to co-sell in Partner Center. And really, for all of you managed partners out there, your PDM really holds the keys for you to enable this experience in Partner Center. Once you're ready, right? Once you've completed this training, the resources that will be acting on referrals coming or co-sell opportunities coming from Microsoft are ready. They've been trained. They know how to, essentially you have catchers on your side to work on these deals. At that point, you can tell your PDM you're ready to go. The PDM can flip the switch in one of our internal systems, OCP CRM, and enable you to start co-selling here in Partner Center, at which point you can stop using Partner Sales Connect for any net new deals. I'll get into that in just a moment. But first, I'll go through orienting you on just the screen at large here. So within referrals, the module, there's a couple different tabs that you see here, and I'll just briefly describe what each of them do. Business profile being, for those of you in the Microsoft Solution Provider search experience that's available on the public web. That's another Microsoft storefront if you want to expose your organization's profile. Typically, we see mostly customers looking for services offerings there, but you can publish your profile no matter what type of partner you are for either direct customers or our demand response teams to review more of those small and medium-sized businesses to share referrals with you. Simple publish experience. Given time, I won't go through the details, however, but we can share those resources offline. Leads section here. As I mentioned, we're folding in the marketplace direct and marketplace or marketing qualified leads that you receive in Partner Center today with also co-sell opportunities. But we didn't want to merge the two into one bucket because typically you'll have a qualification engine working on these leads, whereas co-sell opportunities are already qualified leads coming directly from more of our enterprise and mid-market sellers. So we have these separation, but you can see that basically the experience is the same. So I'll focus on the co-sell opportunity screen. The key difference between co-sell opportunities and leads is that co-sell, you can of course share deals in or outbound to Microsoft, as well as those that are coming inbound from Microsoft. Deal registrations, these are of course after you win a deal and it may be eligible for a given incentive program, for example, the Azure IP co-sell program. Those deal registrations and any deal validation that needs to occur related to those programs all happens here. I'll show that at the end once we close an actual win. Analyze will show you a brief view on aggregate reporting of all of the referrals that you receive and send to Microsoft. And then of course support. And that's one of the last things I'll go through is kind of how to receive support for any acute questions or problems you may have with a given deal here within the referrals module. So with that, just orienting you on the right-hand side of the screen, essentially it's the paradigm of an inbox where you have inbound deals from Microsoft. In the future, we'll also be adding the ability for partners to include you in deals that they might need your help with to close. So this would be any inbound deals from any qualified co-sell ready organization that you would find here. Outbound being those that you've sent to Microsoft and in the future as well to other partners. Favorites, you'll notice this little heart icon. I can toggle that on or off for any of these given co-sell opportunities, and those favorites will show up here in the favorites bucket. So if you have a resource who's focused on perhaps a specific geography, or they have some live deals they're actively working right now, where you'll want to tag those as favorites so they can quickly get back to them. And then filter and sort capability, some standard filters that we have on country or subsidiary. Customer name is really the most common that you would use for a specific customer. You're looking for a specific deal, as well as even solution name. If a given sales resource or user within Partner Center wants to find any deals related to a given solution or offer you've published, they can find that here. And you can sort by created or updated date, modified, for example, to see the most recent or the oldest on the top there. And then within the screen itself, within every co-sell opportunity, you'll see these subway stops that identify where is this deal in the cycle, whether it's created, accepted or declined, and then finally won or lost, and then archived. We explicitly don't add the sales stage from develop to present value to prove value, etc. Often because realistically, that's not frequently updated, especially in Partner Sales Connect, where we have essentially a bulk upload process where most of the time, many partners will only update that data once a month, for example. And that's one of the key things for those of you working at scale, hundreds of deals a year or more, really allowing you to automatically update the status and the expected close date of a given deal from your own CRM system really helps us. But we will never agree also on the exact sales stages that we track individually, whether it's an opportunity or a success engagement or a lead or however you track your own perspective of the deal. Really, the key thing is, what kind of help do I need from Microsoft on this deal? When is it going to close and how big is it? And so after the subway stops, you'll see the customer card, which essentially this is just identifying who the customer is, their location, their name, and if the contact information for the customer has been shared, any PII would also show up here. Next would be the partner card. This is your card that, of course, you can edit at any point here in the UX or again through the APIs or the connectors. But essentially, you have your team working on this deal, and I'll show you where you enter that information, your own CRM ID if you have one, as well as close date, value, solution, and I'll get into a little bit more detail about the solution. But think about this as your perspective of the deal. It's important to note, and I get frequent questions around, well, what value should I put in here? And we'll get into a little bit more detail, but think about this as your perspective of the deal. This doesn't mean that this is the Microsoft perspective of the deal. Microsoft, we will track our own opportunity or success engagement related to this deal, and track our own sales stage, due date, and estimated value, which may or may not be the same as what you're tracking, right? So I'll get into that in a moment. But that's essentially how we think about the structure of the UX here. You notice that you just have one partner and one customer and one Microsoft card. In the future, we will also have the ability for, as you invite partners to these deals, you could have an extended list of, maybe if you're an ISV, you're also bringing in an SI to this deal, or you're a reseller and you're bringing in an SI or an ISV to work on this deal. You will be able to have multiple partners here with their various perspectives of the deal. So with that, I'll kick off actually following the process by starting with the new deal object. So the new deal button here allows you to first either, and we're very explicit around this, some of you may be part of the BizApps ISV Connect program or the Business Applications Co-Sell program, essentially where you may just simply register a win. You don't need to co-sell with the Microsoft sales team. You're just registering a win to initiate that invoicing process to make sure that we're following the right revenue share process for those particular solutions. If you just want to register a win for a signed deal, you can click the registration button. For those of you primarily, and the highest volume will be going through just the new deal process, which this would actually be a co-sell deal that you want to start working on and you need help from the Microsoft sales team, or you want to provide visibility to the sales team related to this deal. So I'll go ahead and choose that one. And the first step is to fill out the customer card. So identifying first the location, and I'll just choose Perth, Western Oz. You notice, by the way, that this is matched to or linked to Bing Maps. So the only level of granularity you need to provide here is at least a state or province. Ideally, you have a city, maybe even a street address of a headquarters, or at least the street name of a headquarters, for example, Microsoft Way. And you can enter that, and then that will help filter down the customer organization names that you will see in this dropdown here. So if I type in Austral, for example, drilling company in Australia, Canning Vale, just up the road from Perth, you see that there's a list of dropdowns. This is not the Microsoft managed customer list. That's not something that we need to or would want to expose externally. But we do have the ability to match to an industry standard legal entity master data source like Dun & Bradstreet. So you see the DUNS numbers here that you can map to. And the reason we do this is really to speed up the matching process to get to the Microsoft sales team without exposing that managed customer list. And essentially, if you're able to find your ID many times within 24 hours, and sometimes it's even immediate, right? We have a direct mapping to this DUNS ID within MSX. We can automatically route that deal to the right seller. Compared to those of you familiar with Partner Sales Connect, you may have been entering street names and locations and contact or organization names using free text, and that does slow it down. We see a longer lag in terms of getting those routed to the right seller or identifying who the customer is in fact. But if for whatever reason, if you're in a location where DUNS data is not really complete, right? There are some geographies where it isn't complete, and you will have to use this fail-safe of entering the customer organization details manually. So you can do that. It just may take a little bit longer to route to the right seller. So I will choose Austral on this list. And you see that then I'm prompted to enter the customer contact information. Who am I working with? Who's the decision maker within the customer organization that I am speaking to? At the moment, you see that's optional. I'll get into that in just a moment, so I'm going to skip it at this point. Now I'm on to entering the details for the partner card, right? So enter a simple deal name. I'll just enter my test Rob, say 10,000 Aussie dollars. This is defaulted to the location of the customer. Estimated close date. I'm going to close this deal tomorrow because I'm very quick. And CRM ID. This now you get into optional fields. You see everything with an asterisk is required. CRM ID, if you want to track perhaps any unique identifier related to your CRM system, you can enter that here. If you're using the connectors or the REST APIs, you will need to have this information, of course, to map to your CRM system to keep this data up to date. As well as if you're part of maybe the C3 program, or you otherwise are doing some marketing campaign that you want to track either internally, or you're executing on a marketing campaign together with Microsoft resources, you want to enter that Allocati ID or other unique identifier here. Notes, any notes on this deal, working on this deal, just general notes about the opportunity or that you're working on would fit here. Of course, don't put any PII information in any of the notes fields. We need to make sure that any PII, any personally identifiable information is identified in the right fields. For example, the PII for your employees. We need to know who are the resources working on this deal. It's not always the user who's logged in who's actually the seller working with the customer. But you'll notice that you do have some recent contacts that you can pull from and add perhaps Alexander there. And you can add multiple, of course. Alice, partner, you'll have to ensure that their phone number or their contact information is filled out. And that is required. So we make sure we know who our Microsoft sellers should reach out to. And then lastly, and this is new, from Partner Sales Connect is we're asking for the solution information up front. So what are you actually selling to the customer? And often I get the question of, well, why do we need that? First, it's really to make sure that we can route to the right seller. As I talk about those meaningful connections between partner seller and Microsoft seller, we need to make sure that we know which seller to route to. And as we have many of our sales resources assigned to solution areas, right? Any of our specialists or technical specialists, and even some of the commercial executives, depending on what type of help you need, which I'll get into on the next screen, we need to know what solution you're selling, at least so we understand, are we talking about an apps and infra deal? Are we talking about modern workplace or business applications, which will help us route you to the right resource. So here you see that by default, I'm looking at my solutions that I've published as an organization. So I have this Azure solution here that I may add to the deal. If, for example, you're selling someone else's solution, maybe you're selling a third-party IP solution on your paper, you would choose this other third-party solution section, search for them by name, and add them as well. Or perhaps maybe you don't know what specific solution on your side you're going to be selling, but you know that, hey, this is going to have an Azure impact, and I need to speak with an Azure seller. So I could just simply enter a basic Azure monetary commitment, for example. And you see, when I'm talking about Microsoft licensed products, I have the ability to add a little bit more detail in terms of what's the quantity, what's the deal size, again, using the currency from that location, and I can add that detail, which really helps our sales teams. It's not required. You notice that quantity and price detail is optional. But if you want to help our sales team understand what's the rough estimate value of this deal, so that we can improve our accuracy of our deal-based forecast, for those of you who have this detail, please go ahead and enter it. It will help us help our sellers triage those deals. Just a quick time check, if you don't mind, from the team. Am I doing okay?
Yep, you're doing great.
Okay. Then the last thing is really identifying the type of help you like from Microsoft. By the way, I'd love to be doing this in person. Maybe next time it will be. What kind of help do you need from Microsoft? So starting to fill out the Microsoft card of essentially helping us identify which seller, whether it's a generalist or a specialist or a final deal negotiation commercial executive. You see some of these options here on the right-hand side of, I need a workload or product-specific value prop for Azure or for Dynamics or whatever it is based on the solution that you have identified here. The default is that I don't need help from you, Microsoft. I'm just sharing this information for your own visibility, right? We hear many partners are doing this just to show perhaps pipeline coverage against partner business plan, perhaps that we're working on together. But when you do need active co-sell help, when you don't need help, there's really nothing else required, right? You simply check this box down below that says, hey, I haven't provided any customer contact information, but if I did provide it, I have the authority or I have the consent of the customer, of course, to share that. I have the consent to share my seller information, right? The PII we have here. And of course, Microsoft can contact either customer or partner based on that information. Of course, in the co-selling motion, it's very infrequent that you would be asking the Microsoft sales team to directly contact the customer without talking to you. But essentially, if you want that, you can add that in the notes. But this is just a standard GDPR and privacy requirement checkbox. So if I don't need help, I'm done. If I do need help, I do need to provide one of these more detailed options. Say I need POC or demo help, where I would need a technical Azure specialist to help me with that. And you'll see that at this point, if you do need active help from our Microsoft sales team, we do need to know who you're working with, right? And this is to solve two key problems that we've heard from partners who have been co-selling with us. Is essentially, hey, partners will say sometimes, Microsoft, I don't get the help I need when I ask for it. When I share co-sell deals with you, I don't receive a response, perhaps, or in a timely manner. And we're trying to, again, establish those meaningful connections between our sales teams. So when you do need that active help, we need to, A, understand Our sellers will also say, well, to the partners, I don't know which deals I really need to engage on. I don't know which ones need my active cooperative selling help. And I really don't know which ones are truly qualified versus which ones are leads that are being thrown over to Microsoft to go qualify. And so by adding this contact information, it really helps us increase the understanding of bank qualification of this deal. It also helps our sales team understand who's the decision maker you're working with. Maybe you're working with a BDM in this part of the house, and we're talking to the IT DM over here. As we join forces, understanding who we're working with will really help our sales team triage and figure out how to develop this strategy to the customer with you. And keep in mind that whenever you receive referrals to receive co-sell opportunities from Microsoft, it will also have this contact information included so that you know who to contact in that case. So we wouldn't ask you to provide any information that we also wouldn't provide. If there's any question, sometimes there's questions around privacy and GDPR and some of these local PII laws. I'm happy to take any of those questions, and we have plenty of documentation to back up how we thoughtfully and correctly handle this kind of sensitive data. So I'll just enter customer name and a phone number and an email. You notice how this email address is simply validating that there is an email address there and that there is a phone number there. There's no validation against the actual customer domain. Depending on, there may be a unique scenario where you need to put in your own contact information here for now. But really if you want to gain that meaningful connection and using that trusting relationship with our sales team, highly recommend to put the right contact information in there. And so finally, I would add kind of a POC or demo. Maybe I need POC help here and create the deal. Once I create the deal, that will go into a received state where our data team will match that DUNS ID or that free text entry of customer information with our own customer master data. And then once that matching is done, it will go into a pending state. And I'll just take a look. This account, Austrial, happens to match directly with a Microsoft customer account. So it's immediately near real time using the Partner Center API technology. It's immediately in a pending state, which means this is waiting for a Microsoft seller to go pick this up and start working on it. Our sellers have 14 days to accept deals that come from you, or they can decline and provide a reason of why they have declined. Maybe it's not a large enough deal, or they're not actively going after that solution area with the customer, or they've accepted, right? And once they accept, I think I have an accepted deal down here. Only after the Microsoft seller does accept will you see their contact information, so you know which seller has actually accepted the deal. And they do have 14 days to respond, just like you'll see in the inbound bucket. You have 14 days to respond as well. We average about 4 days both ways, actually, partners accepting and Microsoft sellers selecting. We're looking to at least trim down our acceptance velocity down to 2 days, but essentially that's the way that process works. And if I flip over to an inbound deal, essentially really simple. You'll see how long you have to accept this invitation. You'll also receive, if you're related to, based on this solution, you have full control over who receives any email-based notifications for these deals coming outbound. And Dan may talk a little bit about this when he gets to the publishing experience, identifying who are the contacts at your organization who are associated, who sell this solution in countries. So based on this deal happens to be in New Zealand, whoever is the seller identified by your organization, when you publish this solution in New Zealand with coverage in New Zealand, they will receive an email notification at the point that this referral or opportunity is created. And then again, 3 days before it expires, right? So once this 14 days, it gets down to 3 days left. But to accept, really simple, you enter your perspective of the deal and fill out that same basic screen that you had here related to when you share any net new deal inbound. And if you decline, or if you decline, we just ask you to please share why you're declining the deal. Perhaps there's some customer contact challenges, or it wasn't bank qualified, or it's too quick, or if in case there's phishing. I don't think we've seen that one reported from our Microsoft sales team, but there could be some that are coming from the direct storefront, the direct marketplace in the lead section, that you want to give us the feedback so we can go investigate, or just make sure that we understand, hey, I'm not interested in this type of referral or lead, so we can improve the algorithm and make sure that we don't send those type of deals to you going forward. And lastly, I will show you, for any questions that you have, please use this support structure that we have here within Partner Center. I know it can be tempting to reach out to your PDM with screenshots on some of these things. Please let the experts within Partner Center handle those type of questions by using the support button here, or also the question mark in the top right. Once you have a support ticket number, you can escalate those if you're not getting a timely or the response that you expect, using a tool called Get Help internally at Microsoft. But really key to ensure that you do submit any support tickets here in the context of Partner Center. So you'll see that if I type in, for example, co-sell, I have the ability to, maybe I didn't get an email notification, or I have a question around deal registration. How do I register a deal? There's some self-serve documentation you'll be prompted with first, or if you need further assistance, you can simply submit a support ticket here. All right, with that, I will hand it off to Rippy to walk through the publishing experience, which is really a key prerequisite of that co-sell experience.
Excellent. Thanks, Rob. I'm going to share my screen, and we'll give it a second for things to transition over. Should see it coming up here in a moment. Okay, hey, thanks everybody. I'm back. So that was a great demo by Rob. There's a couple areas that Rob actually had included in his demo that'll be referenced here. And so as he was going through the process of creating engagements and managing engagements, both bidirectionally from Microsoft and then handing requests to engage back to Microsoft, what you notice on a lot of those interfaces is that you're always referencing back to a specific solution, or the vernacular I'll use for today's demo is a marketplace offer. So you're always referencing back specifically to the offer that your organization has published and established as co-sellable, that you are anchoring all of these engagements both to and from. So our sellers have really the same experience when they go into their Microsoft full-time employee sales agent goes into their organic CRM system for managing their sales pipeline. When they create a new customer opportunity, they can create an engagement request to bring a partner in on that deal. And they have a catalog of solutions of all the things that our partner ecosystem has built that will help them search, sort, and filter and find the best solution built by partners who can service that industry, that customer segment, and that specific solution area. And when they do that, those come back to you via the conduit of everything that Rob included in his demo. But all of that really is predicated on the fact that you have solutions that can be co-sold with Microsoft. And so historically, I'm going to anchor today's demo mostly on the Q&A that I've been seeing come in. I've been watching it as we've been talking here. And there's a lot of open question on the OCP go-to-market catalog, OCP GTM, and the transition of that tooling into Partner Center, as well as the motion in Partner Center of publishing and co-selling now as one combined motion. And so to give you kind of an anchor point of reference as I get into this, we've historically asked you to use 3 different systems to co-sell with us. We had a system for publishing your offers live into our marketplaces, primarily appsource.microsoft.com and azuremarketplace.microsoft.com. That tool used to be known as the Cloud Partner Portal, CPP. That is now Partner Center for 100% of our publishing partners. We had a second tool for the way you manage the co-sell status, collateral, contacts, and metadata for those offers. That was the OCP GTM catalog, what I have up on my screen right now. And that is becoming Partner Center. And then the third thing you use is when you actually share engagements and deal pipeline with Microsoft, what do you use? And that was historically, that was Partner Sales Connect. That is also now Partner Center. So these 3 systems kind of surrounding the offer publication and co-sell process are all coming together in Partner Center, and that's really what Rob and I are trying to walk you through. So anchoring specifically to the questions coming through the Q&A, OCP GTM catalog, is it going away? Yes, it is. It's a phased transition, and it's not that the catalog is going away. It's that all of the capabilities are being ported into Partner Center, so that everything you used to do in this kind of additional tool in the arsenal of things we've asked you to use now will become made available for you, centralized with everything else that you do as an extension of your partner membership with us. And so specifically what that means is, if you had an offer in OCP catalog, we're giving you the ability to move that offer into Partner Center, assuming that offer is not already published. If it is already published, we merge records together, and the kind of the internal representation of that offer and the public representation of that offer come together and show up in Partner Center. But for most of our partners, that's not the case. Most of our partners who have had a long established co-sell installation base with us are saying, hey, look, I've had all of these co-sell objects that I've been representing as co-sellable with your sales team. I need to move these into Partner Center. How do I do that? And so the way specifically to do that is I've pulled up and fabricated some test data here on behalf of British Telecom, just to make it to use some words other than Contosa, which generally comes through on our demos. When you come into OCP GTM, if you're comfortable and have access to the system, as many of you do, you'll see banners at the top that try to that give you leading indicators on the specific state of this engagement. And so in the commercial marketplace, we support 11 offer types. Those are bucketized in a couple of really simple ways. The big buckets are Dynamics, Azure, and Services. And so within Azure, we have 3 flavors: Azure Virtual Machines, Azure Containers, and Azure Applications. Within Dynamics, we have 3 flavors: Dynamics for Business Central, Dynamics for Operations, and Dynamics for Customer Engagement. And then with services, we have 2 different offer types. We have managed services and consulting services. Those are the big buckets that are generally the catch-alls for most offers. In addition to that, we have software as a service as a standalone offer type. We have IoT Edge module for hardware, which is a standalone offer type. And we have Power BI applications, which is a standard standalone offer type. And so what we ask you as we're moving your offers into Partner Center from the OCP GTM catalog, the first decision we ask you to make is, what type of offer is this? In many cases, we try to predict this by looking at the offers criteria, and we'll just answer the question for you. And so in some cases, you'll see that we've predefined this. In other cases, you'll see that Microsoft, we actually don't know what type of offer this is, and so we'll let you modify it. And so you can pick an offer type here. The 11 offer types that I rattled off that are supported by our commercial marketplace are listed in this dropdown. It's a 2-step process, pretty simple. It takes about a minute and a half. The first step is to pick your offer type of those 11 that I listed. If this offer is unique and it's not represented within the marketplace's existing offer types, we have an option for you called co-sell only. And then the second step is to actually move this offer into Partner Center. And so what we do in that movement process is all of the collateral, metadata, and contacts we already have associated with this, we will move into Partner Center for you, and we'll hand it off to you to take the final mile. So there was a question in the chat before I started this part of the demo of how does that happen, and how do I get notified when it happens? It actually can be triggered either by you or by your account manager. We notice in most cases it's being triggered by the partner. So you're coming into our ecosystem, into this OCP GTM ecosystem, you're signing in with a tool that you've probably been using for years. You're finding this blue banner at the top of the screen, and you're clicking the call to action in this banner to start moving your offer into Partner Center. After you answer that offer type question, it will ask you if your company has one or more people who have already established themselves as a publisher in your organization, meaning they've accepted the terms and conditions of the publisher agreement. It will show you that list of people in your company who is qualified to publish offers. That may be you, or it may be one of your colleagues. However many you have in your organization will show you all of them, and you get to pick on who's going to be the receiver of that offer in Partner Center. And so specifically what that means is, when that individual logs into Partner Center, by default, they're taken to this home screen. I'm going to click in this tile on the bottom right. It's also a navigation item on the bottom left. It takes you to the same place. And this will bring you to the overview page in Partner Center that shows you all of the offers that you have listed. And so staged for today's demo, what I've done is I've represented a case where that same offer we were just looking at in OCP GTM has now been migrated over to Partner Center as a draft. And so as the partner, you would log in here, you or your publisher, whoever currently holds this role in Partner Center, would open the offer. You would see that this offer is not currently published to AppSource or Azure Marketplace. And so as part of the co-sell motion going forward, we're anchoring really are three things together: the direct channel through AppSource and Azure Marketplace, the indirect channel through CSPs if you choose to participate in it, and the co-sell channel all wrap together here within the same offer management. So previously you did this in multiple systems. Now you don't. You do it in one place, and that place is Partner Center. And so for all the metadata, collateral, and contacts that you previously managed for this offer, that would have been managed in OCP GTM, they're managed right here now. You don't need to go to a different tool. You don't need to learn a different interface. All of this happens inside a Partner Center. You can define the industries that this offer services. You can define the customer segment. You can define the solution area. You can upload up to 7 pieces of collateral that you want our sales teams to see. And then down here at the bottom, you can create a custom contact list for people in your organization who you want to be contacted when Microsoft sends a request to engage for a customer engagement that is tied specifically to this offer. And so we don't do that broadly across all offer types. We actually let you define offer type by offer type. So if you have a finite number of people in your organization who you want to focus on a specific offer, and a group of people in your organization who you want to be contactable for a different offer, you can customize that here. Same things are true that Rob alluded to. If you have certain people that you want to be contacted for any request to engage that comes from any subsidiary worldwide, you can define those as global contacts on this contact template at the bottom of the screen. And also, if you have specific individuals you want to be contacted for engagements that come from specific countries, you can set up that contact list as well. We don't currently limit this to folks within your Active Directory tenant. So let's say that you log into Partner as your first name at Contoso.com. If you want to include external contacts, like you want to include your PDM or your PMA, we actually let you include external email addresses on this. So you're in that case, your PDM or your PMA would be CC'd on those contact messages that are coming through as you're getting new requests to engage for those offers, as well as other organizations. So if let's say you're a services partner and you're partnering with an ISV, and your service offering is based on a piece of intellectual property that was built by another partner organization, you can include those contacts from that company so they're also getting notified that you are collectively getting requests to engage from Microsoft. The rest of what you see in these tabs on the left side of the screen really is what the public sees. So if you think about it, the easiest way to anchor your mental reference model on this is that we have really 2 storefronts. We have a storefront built for the public, appsource.microsoft.com and azuremarketplace.microsoft.com. And then we have a storefront built for our internal Microsoft sales team. Our internal team gets to see the things that you establish on this co-sell tab. And so if you have bills of material that you have created specifically for Microsoft's sales agents, you can include all of that here. If you have classifications that you specifically want Microsoft's sales team to be aware of, or contacts that you want to share specifically and only with Microsoft, you can do that all in this tab. The rest of what you see in this setup process, it's in this light gray navigation bar, all of that is designed for public consumption. So the way your offer gets established, whether or not it's transactable, whether or not you want to set up a private storefront, the way you want your listing and logos and collateral to be shown on AppSource or Azure Marketplace, all of that gets set there. Pricing list, if your offer is set as transactable, all of that is set for the public marketplace. There's also a tab in here for the indirect channel through CSPs. So if you want to expose this offer to all cloud solution providers or to a specific list of cloud solution providers, you can do that as well. So really what I'm demoing is, this is a very long-winded way of explaining that the 3 channels that are supported in this motion are the direct channel to a public marketplace, an indirect channel to an internal marketplace with our cloud solution provider partners, and then a sales channel, which is supportive of the co-sell program in motion. All of that now happens inside of the commercial marketplace and Partner Center. So when you publish this offer, you can publish to one or more of those channels, and you can set up one or more of those channels here in the single experience in Partner Center. Core call to action that I'll leave you all with before I get off stage here on the demo is, we're not currently, we're still making available all offer types. This demo is right now is supported mostly across ISV offer types. So currently supported today is Dynamics for Business Central, Dynamics for Operations, Dynamics for Customer Engagement, Software as a Service, and Azure Applications. The others that I had started with at the beginning of the call, Azure Containers, Azure VMs, IoT Edge modules, managed and consulting services. Those will come in the next 3 or 4 months, but expect the first 6 months of Microsoft's fiscal year will have made available everything. So core call to action for you specifically is if your company focuses on Azure applications, software as a service, or any of the 3 flavors of Dynamics, you can do this right now. There's nothing holding you back. Talk to your team and figure out who has access to the OCP GTM catalog, log into that catalog, click through the buttons to move your offers into Partner Center and begin the publishing process. If your company focuses on manager consulting services, Azure VMs, Azure containers, or IoT Edge modules, we have you in a holding pattern for right now. That's on purpose. We're making sure we get this right before we deploy this capability globally. So there's nothing for you to do other than hold tight. We'll notify you when we're ready for you to move. Both you and your account management team will be notified, and we'll give you prescriptive instructions on how to do that in case it's been a while since we've had a chance to interact and you just need a refresher on how to do this. Last one, if you're a blended partner, if you have, let's see, some Dynamics offers or some Azure applications in market, but you also have some consulting services offers or some IoT Edge module offers, in that case, you can move forward with your Dynamics solutions. You can move forward with your SaaS apps and your Azure applications. Those can move into Partner Center now, but you'll be in this hybrid state where some of your things will still be held back in OCP GTM while we get this capability built out and we get it tested and easy to use in Partner Center for the remaining offer types. We've seen some partners doing that, and as long as you're aware that you'll be in this kind of bifurcated experience in 1 foot between 2 systems, I think it's great for partners that want to be early adopters and want to give us early feedback on this. We could really use the feedback, and we listen to everything you tell us. So please feel free to aggressively move forward. But if you want to hold back until the totality of your offer types are ready to go, that's okay too. So with that, I'll turn it back to the slides. Thanks for hanging on with the presentations today, and keep the Q&A coming. Rob and I will answer as on demand here.
Great, thanks very much, team. So we've got quite a list of questions, but are short on time now. So let's try and be rapid with our responses. The first one is, are partners going to be automatically informed when PSC is successfully finished for our MPN IDs?
Yeah, and I could take that one. So essentially there's you fall into one of 2 buckets as a partner. Either your account is completely simple, you have a one MPN ID, one virtual organization or VORG that you use in Partner Center, one partner global account as we call it in Partner Center. We will be able to offer kind of an automated migration for some of you. Some of you will start receiving those notifications as early as the very next week. And we will do that in a phased approach, so we make sure that we have the right support resources available to you. If you're part of that kind of simple bucket that we can automate this entire process for you, we'll also have the ability to pull any existing deals from Partner Sales Connect that meet the right criteria, meaning they have solution information, et cetera, over to Partner Center on your behalf. Or you could be a partner that you're going to need a little bit more help. Maybe you have multiple MPN IDs, multiple Partner Center tenants, multiple accounts in Partner Sales Connect, in which case you'll need some more help from your PDM or PDMs who work with you across multiple geographies to consolidate and understand which MPN ID essentially do you want to use to co-sell. You can give those signals back to your PDM to help prepare you for the move so you have a seamless transition. Also, for those of you who don't want to wait for the automatic migration, because that could be some months, and you want to start benefiting from the business benefits of that direct Microsoft seller connection in Partner Center, like I said at the beginning of the call to action for you is just inform your PDM when you're ready. Make sure you've consumed these resources that are on the screen here and that you're ready to start co-selling with Microsoft. I saw another question just on this topic that we can cover now as well. For those of you who want to move now, there won't be an automated deal migration process. So we won't pull everything from Partner Sales Connect to Partner Center. In fact, it's about only 1 out of every 8 deals that are in Partner Sales Connect that meet the requirements of solution information, deals that have been modified at least within the last 90 days. So they have some sort of pulse that we would move to Partner Center. So our recommendation instead is for those of you who want to go now and don't want to wait for any automated migration, which we do recommend, is allow whatever you have in Partner Sales Connect today to drain We see the average shelf life of a partner deal in PSC is only 42 days. And so just let those deals drain, close those out as wins or losses. And then if you have a small subset of deals that still remain after, say, 30 or 60 days, re-enter those in the Partner Center experience.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to go to a question now from Adatis who say, we are being migrated to Partner Center but are now facing issues with shared leads. Some are showing up in PSC and some in PC. What's the best way to get this resolved?
Yeah, really good one. So your PDMs, it's very likely that that kind of error state occurred because you may have multiple PDMs and multiple accounts where perhaps not all the PDMs flip the switch on your behalf to move to Partner Center. We're going to systematically resolve that problem. So once we see that you're successfully co-selling in Partner Center in the very near future, you'll be receiving all of your deals in Partner Center, and we will avoid any bifurcation that you may have. But I highly recommend to submit a support ticket related to that issue and make sure that you escalate that to your PDM if you don't get a timely response or resolution.
Great, thank you. And we've got two questions of a similar vein, so I'll just pick one of them, which is, we're largely self-sufficient. Should we still enter details for our large opportunities which require no Microsoft input, just to provide visibility to the respective teams at Microsoft?
Yeah, it depends on why you're doing that, right? If there's a valid business reason for you to do that, yeah, please do. Of course, we would love to have visibility to all the impact that you're having with Microsoft customers or our mutual customers. And it may help kind of provide some clarity against when you do a business plan with your PDM, understanding how are we doing in these different industries or segments that we're targeting with these given solutions, and also understanding what is the value of these solutions to our customers, especially for IP or services solutions that are not sold on Microsoft paper. We really have no other way to quantify the impact of those solutions. So it's good to share them, but you don't have to, right? There's no systematic, official criteria to say it's not like you won't achieve a gold competency or an advanced specialization without sharing that pipeline. But we'd certainly appreciate it, and it helps you raise your profile within Microsoft if you do so.
Great, thank you. And then I'm going to do one more question before break, which was, I've added my first co-sell opportunity to the partner portal. Unfortunately, it was rejected right away. The decline reason was no Microsoft seller directly manages this customer. Is there a minimum customer size required, i.e. annual turnover, employees, etc.?
Yeah, really good one. So as we think about what we call SMB customers, there's really no Microsoft account assigned or Microsoft resource, sales resource assigned to what we call an unmanaged account in the small and medium business world. We are going to enable that scenario where we would dump those deals into a pool where perhaps if you're familiar with the territory channel manager that works within SMB to manage and help aggregate those deals at scale. But in the sense of the meaningful connection between your sales resource and our seller, there's really no direct seller who's going to actively cooperatively sell with you on those SMB deals, and hence why in Partner Center we automatically decline those deals because there's really no resource to help you. If you believe that for whatever reason that deal is not a small or medium business, you can submit a support ticket and we can help take a look at the algorithm and understand, hey, is this actually a managed customer where there is a resource that you could work with?
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, team, for this deep dive there into Marketplace and the demos. We'll take a short break now. We'll come back at 4:50 for the session on differentiating with advanced specializations, followed by the final session on solution workspace. Thanks, everyone. Back in 9 minutes.